What changes can happen with the Anat Baniel Method, and how quickly can I expect these changes to happen? My name's Jen. I'm an Anat Baniel Method practitioner near beautiful Vancouver, BC, Canada. I've been doing this since 2015, and I'm just so happy you found the Anat Baniel Method and you have all these wonderful questions. So that's what I wanted to dive in. I wanted to answer some of your questions. The most popular questions are, drumroll, what changes can happen with the Anat Baniel Method, and how quickly can I expect these changes to happen? Another one is, how long does it take to see any improvement? Another parent asks, we've done one intensive, how do I gauge whether or not it's working? What can I do at home? Which is kind of my specialty. What would be the most important daily thing to do at home in between intensive? That's a fantastic question. I will answer that. Is ABM effective for every child? And what's the usual progress to expect when you're doing the Anat Baniel Method? So thank you so much for those questions. Those were kind of the most popular ones. I also had a lot of questions about what can I do at home to help my child do specific milestones, such as rolling over, better head control, better trunk control, independent sitting, all of that. I will answer those ones in the following videos. I actually have entire courses of guided videos on those, but I will talk more about them in other videos. For this video, I will concentrate on what changes can I expect to see with the Anat Baniel Method, and how long before I see those changes, and what can I do at home. So let's dive into the first stage of those questions, is what changes can I see in my child? And of course, this is going to be different for every child. That's why these questions are kind of so hard to answer. I'll start with like the base level. What sorts of changes are you going to see happen is your ABM practitioners using their hands, their fingers, to give your child's brain quality sensory information. Your child's brain is taking that information, reorganizing it to use their body more efficiently. Okay, so like we're upgrading the brain through slow, gentle movement, through quality information. What types of changes might happen in your child's brain that you're inputting quality information to? Could be anything. It really could be anything. I'll go over the most typical changes that you'll probably see are, oh, my dog's going crazy. Or you sleep better, self-regulation, better sleep, more awareness of the world around them, better coordination, better balance. So your child's brain is taking in incoming information and reorganizing it. And this is really calming to the nervous system. Most of our nervous systems are, spinning out of control. And I see a lot of kids, most kids need help with nervous system regulation and emotional regulation. It's very calming to the brain to have this quality information given to them. It's very calming for the brain to know, where is my body in space? How is my body attached to me? So I would say that's like step one, but it feels very like theory. It's hard to kind of wrap your head around like how, what does a calm nervous system actually look like? Like what do changes look like when you have a calm nervous system? But it will be things like that general thing, like they sleep better, they eat better, they make more eye contact, they might be more vocal, better balance, coordination, kind of those general things. And those little tiny skills are laying the foundation for the larger physical milestones that parents are usually looking for, right? Without a calm nervous system and without that like upgrading of the brain's ability to coordinate and organize itself, it's very hard to reach those next milestones. Just the physical act of sitting up independently is a very complex movement. And if your brain can't regulate the incoming information, it's very, very hard to do a more complex movement like sitting up. Okay, so we start with the basics. And kind of work your way up. And of course, it's different for every child, right? Like how I work with a 6-month-old who has never rolled over is very different than how I work with, a 24-year-old with cerebral palsy. But that all said, maybe this is the biggest takeaway for you as parents. That base foundational level is really using my hands or your hands. You as parents can be doing this too, using your hands to connect your child to themselves. Okay, connect your child to themselves, and that's laying that foundation for their brain to be able to better organize their physical movements when they're connected to themselves. This is your hand, and this is where your arm is in space, and this is how your hand might be able to relate to your other body part, how it touches his face. Okay, so that's what you'll generally see, and how fast will you see it? It again depends on the child, it depends on the circumstance. Sometimes it can be instantaneous. if you're able to tap into your child's, nervous system to calm it down and to have them be aware of where their body is in space and where it is in space to relationship to the world around them, to the items and objects around them, all of a sudden those kids who don't move very much, who might be stuck in that fight or flight position of arched on their back, head turned, arms stuck out to the side. That was another really popular question was, what do I do with my kids' arms are stuck here or they're stuck in this kind of arched position? And super common, I see this in my office quite a bit. You can access their brain through slow, gentle movement, help them feel where are they in space? Where is that hand in relationship to their head? Where's mom in relationship to can they feel mom here? Can they feel the soft fuzzy blanket? Can they feel their hair? Can they feel my hair? The more those basic skills are, and the more their nervous system calms down, the more engaged they are with the world, and they'll start to self-initiate movements. And again, that's the next layer. The foundational thing is you want your child to have self-initiated movements. When you have a calmer nervous system, you're better able to control things. The sensory incoming information is making more sense to your brain. Then you're more willing to reach out and grab things. You're more willing to be like, oh, hey, what is that? I'm going to reach for that toy. I'm going to move and wiggle myself to that toy. You're more interested in the world around you, and you're going to self-initiate movements that can catapult your child into the next level almost instantaneous. And again, I'm kind of talking about theory right now instead of like hands-on things, but I will get to those videos as well. I also have different programs that actually show you guided movements using your hands to really connect your child to themselves. And the three main areas that I kind of like to go over in my videos, because it does lay that next physical foundation for their brain to organize their body to move physically through the world, is where their pelvis, spine, and head are in space and how they relate to each other, because the pelvis, spine, and head are needed. Your brain needs to coordinate those three things to have the head control, to come up into sitting, to walk. You need to know where your pelvis, how your pelvis can move, how your spine can move independently, and your head, and all together, coordinated together and separate for those movements. So that's what a lot of my guided videos are focused on, is the pelvis, spine, and head. And you can go check those out. I'll put the link down below and you can check those out. So the big program is called the Mindful Movement Program. That has hundreds of videos in there. That's for the parents who are familiar with ABM. They've been in the ABM world for a little bit, and they're self-starters, and they really want to like dive deep and have kind of a home practice. They're kind of doing it daily or weekly at least, kind of with their kid at home. And the MiniMoves program is kind of small slices of that, so it's not super overwhelming for the parent, and lays really good. It has the basic movements and a great introduction to what ABM is and how you could be using it at home to support your child, okay? Because let's face it, the Anat Baniel Method is not accessible to everyone. That's the frustration I had with it. I had finally found a method that my daughter loved, I loved. I was seeing actual results with my daughter. My daughter has a rare genetic disorder. She's 15 now and she's doing great. But that was my biggest frustration when I first found out about it 15 years ago, was that I couldn't access it. I was like, there was very few practitioners. It was very costly. There was nobody in my area. I had to travel. And I was like, I'm going to become a practitioner and change that, because this information, basic information, needs to be accessible for parents. You parents are at the forefront of being with your child, of helping your child, supporting your child learning. You're with your child, most of you, 24/7. There's an opportunity for you as parents to be able to bring these principles home with your children and support them in their development and support them to reach their potential. You really can do this at home. It really does make a difference for their brain to, you're laying those building blocks, those foundations of skills, and helping, having the skills to connect your child to themselves and to the world around them. That is really that key foundational piece, and that's the secret. That's the secret to the Anat Baniel Method, is you using your hands to facilitate that for your child, of connecting them to themselves. So hopefully that covers those kind of three questions of like what changes can happen. It can be very general changes, or it can be very concrete changes. I had a little girl the other day who was stuck in this fight or flight stage. She'd had a very traumatic birth, a lot of medical interventions, but her nervous system was like completely kind of freaked out because she didn't know where she was in space. She had no idea. If you tried to roll her or move her, she'd get even stiffer, and it was her nervous system saying, wait, I don't know what's going on. I don't understand this world around me. I can't. She had vision issues. She couldn't turn her head. You know, you could see her nervous system was like stuck, like freaked out, like I don't know where I am, what's going on. I don't understand the world around me. Her brain couldn't make sense out of the incoming information. And so I had to go right back to those basics. I call it like body mapping. And there's a whole section in both of those programs, the Mindful Movement Program and the MiniMoves Program, on basic body mapping, using your hands and your fingers to connect your child to themselves. Like, this is your arm. This is where your hand touches the mat. This is where your hand is. And there's mommy. You can touch mommy with it. This is where your hand touches your face, touches your hair. This is where your elbow is in relationship to your rib. This is where your knees are, your feet, all of that basic stuff. And immediately her nervous system calmed all the way down because I was meeting her where she was at. So I was using my hands slowly, gentle variation, giving her brain the information that made sense to her brain. So I was going at the speed that she needed, then the softness that she needed, the safety of she needed. She felt very unsafe in this world because she couldn't see what was going on. She couldn't turn her head, so she didn't know what was going on over here. You know, it was just this big, you know, putting yourself in your child's body, and how would you react to these things happening to you and around you, and not being able to control your brain not being able to make sense of the information, and your brain not being able to control any output of what your body does because you don't even know your hand is over there. You know, you've never seen your hand, sort of thing. So slowing everything down, back to the basics. And, you know, after the first lesson or the first day, she was more engaged. She was more aware of what was going around her. She could track and follow her dog. She could roll her head both ways now. She was more interested in her mom's voice and her dad's voice. And because she was out of that like fight or flight freeze nervous system response, she was more curious about the world around her. She felt safer in her body. So she started self-initiated movement. She started reaching out for her dad, reaching out for the dog, reaching out for the toy. That's huge. Doesn't look like very much, but it's huge. It's that foundational piece that she was missing. Is she going to learn how to come up into sitting in the next lesson? Probably not. But what she experienced and the leap in that is like, it's huge. It's huge. It's giant. Oh my goodness. Okay, I get like the feels. I'm just so happy for her family that they found this method and they're able to, you know, really give their child's brain what they need to develop and to reach her potential. So it's giving your child's brain the information that makes sense to their unique brain. Okay, and you guys can do this. You guys can. You really can. Okay, keep following. I'm going to give you all my best advice and all my tips and things. And I'm just so grateful that you're here. And if you have done Anat Baniel Method lessons before, you have a favorite practitioner or a local practitioner, you know, let me know some of the changes for the other parents. You know, what are some of the changes that you've noticed in your child that maybe aren't the typical milestone changes, but have meant the world to you and your child? Like, you know, what are those foundational changes, those little baby steps, those little baby milestones that your child wasn't doing before, but now they are, and it's made such a huge difference for them? I would love to know. Let me know down below. And stay tuned for the next video. Will be something to do with that pelvis, spine, head connection, making those connections for your child to help them with head control, rolling over, sitting up. Super important for the brain to know how to organize that. So stay tuned, and I'm super glad that you're here. Okay, we'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.